Hey everybody, JJ here. Bull, boom, bear bust. It is Thursday night. It is April 16th. And hope everyone is well. Today we're going to talk about thousands and thousands of businesses that may never reopen, both small and big nationally recognized businesses. Also, the lockdown backlash begins that is happening, especially in Michigan. We're going to talk about that. Essential items that you purchase or essential items that you may need, that's being determined by politicians. They feel like they know what we need versus what we don't need, what's essential, what's not essential. And finally, investing is now front running the Fed. We're going to talk about that and more. Let's get started. Now, first of all, we're going to see what happens. Maybe this economy will start opening up. The president just gave a speech and a conference saying that we're going to try to reopen the economy starting in early May. Certain areas may not get reopened. It depends on the infection rate in certain areas. But so far, the damage is far beyond most, even market so-called experts had anticipated. Headline here out of CNBC, the economic data is even worse than Wall Street feared. The economy is clearly in ruins. And I definitely agree. We've been predicting this for a long time. And again, thousands of businesses we're going to talk about may not be able to reopen. They may not be able to get through this rough patch. And just in our previous report, we talked about how small business funds have run out. And we've got a political battle now on if we can reallocate more money to these small businesses. And these are the numbers from March. Just wait till April numbers come out. It's going to be a continuation of the bloodbath. But in March alone, retail sales fell 8.7%. That's the most ever since the government has been collecting the data. Also, regional manufacturing activity hit an all-time low, declining to a negative 78.2%. And here is a chart of the drop right here in retail sales. Now, of course, most of this has to do with businesses aren't even open, so you have less places to buy from. But the big winner in all this is Amazon. More people now are shopping from Amazon. So it's truly a case where the small businesses get hurt and wiped out in some cases, and the big business wins, and Amazon has really skyrocketed. I'll bring up a chart right here. Look to the far right. We see this hockey stick pattern. It went from that dip when this economy started falling in early to mid-March of 1785, and we've since risen now on Amazon to $2,400. And just today alone, as I'm reporting this earlier today, a $100 increase in the share. That was a 4.36% increase in Amazon. And this is going to be very, very bad because remember, Amazon is one of the companies that's one of the biggest robotics companies. So we have a lot of humans that are being replaced by robotics, especially at Amazon and the warehouses. I think you've probably seen the videos and the pictures. And yet this is the company, one of the companies that's getting the biggest boost out of this lockdown economy that we're in right now. Right? So all the people that used to have jobs at all these small businesses that are closed down and may never reopen, what are they going to do? Not everybody can work at Amazon or be a delivery driver for Amazon. And manufacturing jobs that mostly got shipped overseas over the past few decades, even if they did come back here to the shores, to the United States, if millions and millions of people cannot find work because these businesses are not going to reopen, many of them, who's going to be buying the manufactured items? So you see, it's going to be a big snowball effect. It's going to be like a dog chasing its own tail. You have no jobs, so therefore you have no people with money to go out and spend to buy things that are manufactured. So therefore, even if manufacturing jobs come back, we're still in a world of hurt. And I think we better prepare for a bad economic downturn. And I've been saying this for a long time. It could be worse than the Great Depression. Of course, it's not going to look the same. We're not going to have people waiting down the street in soup lines. It's going to be miles of cars that we're already seeing in some areas. People waiting sometimes 2, 3, 4 hours for a bag of food. So small businesses lose. Amazon wins. The rich get richer. Report here out of Retail Dive. It's retaildive.com. 15,000 stores could permanently close in 2020, and that's a CoreSite study. Of course, there's many, many more thousands more than that are closed just temporarily and that may reopen on the other side. But 15,000 stores may never recover from this. And that's just going to contribute to more of these people that are on unemployment, could be permanent payroll recipients of unemployment. Now, we've been documenting the retail apocalypse over the past few years, actually, and we know that Amazon, people buying online, was a big part of that. But just in the last couple of years, the store closures really started to increase, and people tried to point to Amazon as the cause, but Amazon's been around for 20 plus years. Why is it just in the past few years that these retailers have a harder and harder time staying open? Well, it's because the consumer was getting more and more tapped out as time went on. People were running up their credit cards. We did see credit card defaults start to increase. Student loan defaults start to increase. Car loan defaults start to increase before this Black Swan event came in and made the entire economy sick and brought us all these lockdowns. So the store closures that we saw in 2019, which set a record which beat 2018, which was 9,548, is now going to be almost doubled here only in the month of April. We're at 15,000 now stores that may go out of business for good. More over here, CoreSite analysts anticipate more retailers are going to file for bankruptcy this year, and that more companies could end up liquidating entirely in Chapter 7. All right, so it's the businesses that are hurting, especially the small businesses, and we're going to talk about some larger businesses also being affected, but think about all these employees that no longer will have a place to go back to work, even on the other side, even when the economy reopens. And many of these people, retailers, retail employees, were likely on that list of people that were living paycheck to paycheck. So now they're going to go from living paycheck to paycheck to no job. And if they're lucky enough to get unemployment, if the website's not crashed, because so many people are trying to get unemployment at the same time, if they're lucky enough to get unemployment's going to be a fraction of what they used to make when they were living paycheck to paycheck. So we're really going to see poverty explode. We're going to see the unemployment numbers permanently rise. People that are going to be having a very, very difficult time. And can you imagine someone that has a family and kids and mouths to feed? What are they going to go through in the very near future? It's starting now. But this economy could stay sick well beyond when the lockdowns finally end. All right, so it's going to be all about the central bank printing more money, more people on unemployment, more bailouts, more money being pumped into the bank so people can borrow more money. We're probably going to see more people borrowing against their home equity, people maxing out their credit cards, and I'm sure it's going to be in the news pretty soon that credit card companies are going to start dropping limits on these credit cards, which is going to further stop people from being able to buy food. And it's just going to be an absolute disaster. And I'm not sure what type of miracle or what type of solution there is. Hit the reset button, hit delete on all the debt. That's going to be a very controversial move if that does happen. We'll have to see how it plays out. I don't see that happening, but there's only so many things you can do when the entire world and the entire United States included is under debt. The government's in debt. City, state, and local. Citizens are in debt. Corporations are in debt. And because of all the debt, we have to borrow more and get further into debt. And this is just an absolute disaster. It was going to happen. It was going to come unfold. It was going to come undone eventually. Now, I did mention that it's not just small businesses. They're going to have a hard time reopening. It's also national businesses in many locations. Here's a story about Gold's Gym. They're going to be closing permanently 30 locations because of the fallout and from the losses that they sustained just in a few weeks of having a lockdown and being closed. Now also the lockdown backlash is beginning. People are getting sick and tired of being told that they can't go out of the house, and people are asking the question, well, why not? I can choose if I want to go out, if I want to take the risk, and that would be like somebody locking everybody down because people die in car accidents. One of the leading causes of people passing away is heart disease. So what do? Do you lock down all the fast food restaurants? Do you say that these businesses have to permanently close? Like, how much micromanaging do we need from these politicians who think they know what's best? And speaking of that, we have essential items that are being determined by the politicians. So now politicians are saying, yes, you can go buy this, but you can't buy that. I'll give you an example. I was driving through a strip mall today, and in that strip mall there is a water store. They sell filtered water, You go in there, it's like 20 cents a gallon or something like that. And went up and looked at the sign. That store was closed. It was forced closed by the officials, by the health officials, or the determining bodies that run California. But just two units down in the same mall, a smoke shop was open. So smoke's essential, cigarettes essential, filtered water non-essential. Right? How insane is this? And I can definitely see why people are getting fed up. Now the story is that the smoke shop sold snacks, so because they had food in there, they were deemed essential. The water store, filtered water, non-essential. Go figure. Let's take a look here. This is out of MichiganRadio.org, and Michigan is the epicenter of the authoritarian lockdown orders. For example, garden centers at large stores must close under the governor's order, right? So gardening, trying to grow your own food in a time where we have massive food shortages and people waiting hours in line to get their food. Gardening and gardening essentials, seeds are considered non-essential, just like filtered water, non-essential. It's pretty insane, but it's happening now. And we see that people are getting fed up. This is a tweet here from Charlie Langton. This is the line of cars that are lined up in protest. And this is the rally for people wanting to get the economy unlocked, Operation Gridlock, that the governor in Michigan has implemented. Here's another tweet here. This is out of Austin Kellerman. Governor, open our economy on May 1st and respect our rights and freedoms. So this is going to get very interesting if the president opens this up starting in May, but then leaves it up to the state's governors to either stay on lockdown or to open up their state. And we could see these discouraged people, these protests really increase. And people have a lot of time right now because so many people are out of work that people do have time to actually go out and express their dissatisfaction, so to speak. Finally, investing has now become front-running the Fed. Finally, investing has now become front-running the Fed. So you can actually get an ETF, and StateStreet.com is purposely putting out ETFs with stocks that the Fed has promised to buy. So it's no longer about analyzing or having an investment strategy. It's all about looking at the Fed. What's the Fed going to buy? And it really hasn't been about that for a long time because the Fed's been involved in these markets for decades. But the fact that there's ETFs out there now specifically geared towards front-running the Fed should be an eye-opener for people. All right, everybody, we're going to leave it at that here. Hope everyone is well. Hope everyone's staying sane if you're locked down. It's a good time to read a book, educate yourself, try to better yourself, try to get in better shape. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm actually working less hours now. My company does have me working from home, but hopefully we'll see this economy, this country open back up again here very soon in a safe way, and hope everyone is well. And please come back to the channel for more. If you like what we talk about, please give us a thumbs up. It does help the channel. And best of all, leave a comment down there. Let us know what you're thinking, what you see on this. What do you think about the lockdowns? What do you think about the thousands of businesses that may never reopen and all the people that are going to be on unemployment possibly for a very long time, if not their entire life? Looks like some very dark and dangerous times here ahead, to say the least. But let me know what you think. I'd like to hear from you down there in the comments. Bye for now.